Hello, Landmark College. I'm Guinevere Downey.
And I'm Blue Bax.
And welcome to Geek News, where we update you on recent happenings out in the real world about science, tech, pop culture, and more. In this week's show, some interesting websites I've found, Tesla recalls a lot of cars, the ugliest boots I've ever seen, and the world's largest slice of pizza. So hey, Blue.
Hi, Glenn.
How are you this week?
I am quite tired, but I'm ready. What you got for me?
Not a lot, honestly. It's been a pretty quiet week.
Okay.
Well, I say quiet. It's never quiet in science, but a lot of stuff happened in areas that I'm not very familiar with. My areas of expertise are in astrophysics type stuff and spaceflight and stuff like that. Also, some like high-level engineering stuff. I say that as though like I have any like science background beyond the stuff I read on Wikipedia and the stuff that I'd like read random research papers about, which I guess is like high-level stuff. Anyhow, this week a little bit of an awkward timing for this show, but on the 27th, NASA and SpaceX will hopefully, if everything went right and the weather didn't f them over, and the weather didn't mess them up.
I'll just censor it. It's fine.
Okay, cool. And the weather didn't mess them up. NASA and SpaceX will have launched a crewed mission to the. NASA and SpaceX will have launched a crewed mission to the ISS. I think this is the 6th mission that they'll have launched using this Falcon 9 rocket.
So this is happening in, 4 days, I'm going to say?
Yes.
So hopefully, if all things go well, I can do a last-minute edit and throw in
A clip of
of it going well. And
Yeah.
if it goes poorly, I don't want to put that in the edit.
Yeah,
So
no, yeah. If it goes poorly,
I will just write that on the screen.
yes. There will be a live stream of the launch, and I presume these things typically are kept as VODs on NASA's TV channel, or NASA's YouTube channel. So if you want to watch it and see the moment of launch in more detail than what we're putting on the screen now, you can go check it out there.
Anything else that's interesting? You said you found some interesting websites?
Yes, I did. Okay, so I found this really fun one. This is going to be a little harder for you to put on screen. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'll find a way around it.
But I found a website called Apollo in Real Time.
Should I go to it?
Yeah, go take a look.
Okay.
What this is I'm going to pull it up myself. It lets you look at the, watch the entirety of 3 separate Apollo missions. Apollo 11, Apollo 13, that's the one that went pretty famously wrong,
Yeah.
and Apollo 17, which was the last mission to the moon, last human mission to the moon. And it lets you, if you click on, say, Apollo 13, which in my opinion is the
one I was immediately going to click.
like we've all heard them talk about the one giant step for man or whatever.
Oh wow! So you can just click like a join in progress at the current time of day.
Yes.
Do I want to click that?
I tend to click the join at 1 minute to launch.
I'm just gonna click that then. So, you're able to join.
And so what this is, you have to turn up your volume to
gonna
really
do
get the full experience. But you hear the entirety of the comm chatter for the whole mission, from prior to liftoff to end of recovery.
Yeah.
And if you look at this top bar up here, you can see it has some of the highlights. And you can obviously go see the problem and when it happened.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to get to.
I see the word problem has showed up.
So what you're seeing on screen here is this is a live or a readout of what was happening in those moments on Apollo 13. Like these were their. This was mission control. You can see if you scroll down over here, or
Actually, I can't really.
make it full screen, right there. And you can see mission control. You can see publicity
Huh.
You can just listen to the entirety of these 3 missions,
This is weird. I love it, but it's so weird.
right?
I'm just gonna probably do this in my free time at this point. This is
Yeah,
insane.
no, I spent so long looking at this. I found it a couple of months ago, but I only remembered about it while I was writing the script for this week's episode, and I was like, oh,
I like here in the mission control. You can actually, hopefully, I have a screen cap of this on screen. You can actually click through and see specific desks. It shows specific audio tapes of the desks and everybody working. That's insane.
And if you go to the photography tab, there will be like press conferences that pop up here. So like the press conference after the problem happened.
After the problem happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you want to? You'll probably play the audio that happens during the problem.
I can play the audio unless it's been captured on the microphone, but either way, I'll just try to throw it up. But that is amazing.
Right? It's just this absolutely, and there's also commentary on it. It's just like this really, really interesting thing to look at if you want to know more about Apollo 11, Apollo 13, or Apollo 17. Apollo 13 is probably the one you're all going to go look at, which like
one I clicked, so.
it's the first one I clicked too. I think it's how I found it. So I was reading up on it because I was like, ooh, interesting stuff, and then someone linked it, and I was like, that seems really cool. Yeah, so that's one of the cool websites I found. What was the other one? I don't think I can remember it because I didn't write it down good. Oh, the other thing I did was I got ChatGPT to write me a college-level paper.
Yeah, from our past
this is not
of AI, this is definitely something I want to hear about.
Yeah, so this is not me admitting to academic whatever. This was an experiment I did. I wrote we're probably going to put segments of this paper up on the screen right now. But I had it write a paper about the geology of Hawaii. I took a geology course a couple of semesters ago, and I was like, well, that could be an interesting thing to just select as a topic to see if I can get ChatGPT to write me a college-level paper. And it did. It had in-text citations from real websites. I had to get a little specific with how to do it, but I got it to cite real sources. It was a little sparse on sources. It was a little sparse on like details.
Yeah, I mean,
it wrote the core of the paper. It wrote like 700, like 2 pages or so of the paper, just like through me prompting it, and it was very easy for me to prompt it to write more in specific segments.
That truly amazes me, especially with the in-text citations, due to the fact that it's trained on a model that doesn't have direct access to the internet. It only has enough access that was trained on an internet model from, I'm going to say, last year.
Yeah.
The fact that it is this complex and it was able to do all of that,
yeah,
kind of surprised. How up to date and factual were these citations, though?
How? It pulled citations. Let me see. It pulled citations from 2022.
Wow. Okay. So they really that is actually quite surprising to me.
Yeah.
And they are in the correct citation format. That also kind of scares me.
Yeah. Like, I mean, this is not a paper I would submit if I had written it. But it's like, let me read a paragraph aloud so you can really like understand this.
I'd say that.
Sorry. Yeah, the volcanoes in Hawaii are still active, and the island of Hawaii is home to some of the most active volcanoes in the world, including Kilauea and Mauna Loa. Kilauea has been erupting continuously since 1983 and has produced extensive lava flows that have destroyed homes, roads, and other structures from the U.S. Geological Survey 2022. And it's got that in-text citation. Mauna Loa, on the other hand, is the world's largest shield volcano and has erupted 33 times since its first well-documented eruption in 1843. And so there's obviously a little bit of editing you would have to do. It says, it talks about the activeness in twice. There's a lot of smoothing out you could do. The Hawaiian Islands were formed by a hotspot in the Earth's mantle, which created a chain of volcanic islands as the Pacific tectonic plate moved over the hotspot. The Hawaiian Emperor Seamount Chain is a chain of volcanic islands and seamounts that extends for over 6,000 kilometers, 3,728 miles, across the Pacific Ocean, and is the product of the Pacific plate moving over the hotspot for 80 million years. Sherrod, Sinton, and Watkins, 2017. I went and looked this up. This is a real paper from those three people. They wrote a real paper about Hawaii and how, like, how long it's been forming and.
Huh. So I've seen these done before. Obviously, I've seen articles. I've seen the experiments. I haven't actually seen it myself in person yet. How? You said you wouldn't submit this. Personally.
I would not submit this, but I'm also like an overachiever. I think this would get you a poor grade, but it very quickly wrote me the core of the essay. It took me 10 minutes. I had to do zero research, and I know, like, generally that it tends to be that what it has is mostly correct. You would have to fact check all the little details.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have to write all the essays and the transition paragraphs and all of the stuff to put it together. It would be an editing process.
I think what this is showing is that you can utilize these things, not for full essay writing, but more so for if you're stuck or need a starting off point. I mean, granted, I think there are already people who are building, those kinds of services off of this model. But I'm hoping, and my hope is that it sticks to that and it's not abused to just be utilized. I mean,
well, I think
there is already a ban on ChatGPT and OpenAI in New York for schools.
I think that's the wrong path to take. I think that they should be looking into how to teach kids to use this appropriately, because this is going to be the way that people write stuff in probably 10 years. Maybe even sooner than that. Like this, I got it to write like some very specific segments, some extremely specific stuff, pulled quotes from articles and stuff. And it really is like fascinatingly correct and simple to do. I spent probably 20 minutes on this.
Wow, okay.
I did not spend very long whatsoever doing this. Honestly, the most time I spent was figuring out how to get it to tell me stuff in the right way.
I just realized at the end you said thank you.
Well, I've talked about this before. What do I personally lose from being nice to the language model? Like, I said please every time I requested it. Like there's nothing that's bad about me requesting things nicely from the AI chat model. It probably is not intelligent based on like what I know of language learning models and how they work. It's not really. It's what it is. It's predictive algorithms rather than.
Going off what happened last week, where that Bing chatbot kept seemingly having its own sense of mind. I feel like if you were to demand it from them, they'd just say no, as opposed to what you're doing here.
Well, I don't know, because the thing is I think a lot of that kind of experience happens because they're starting to have really like interpersonal communications, and it's pulling from chat logs with people.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I believe that there's like any sense of mind in there. It's just pulling on a persona that speaks to a human mind as though it was much more realistic. Like when I was interacting with ChatGPT for this little experiment, I said please and thank you to it, which it felt a little weird, but it was very much a tool that I was using, not speaking to a person. If I sat down and tried to speak to it about, say, I don't know, current events or something like a hobby I have, tell me about this thing that I have, and let's talk about this and go into detail. I would expect it to start responding with much more, with much less like formulaic and
You'd expect it to have more human responses in a sense.
Yes. I would expect it to be responding as though I was talking to a chatbot rather than a language learning tool.
Yeah.
Which feel like two different things. They sound like two different things when I say them, even if they are technically the same thing.
And I think that's why there's like a certain distinction between, things like ChatGPT and ChatGPT's integration into Bing, because that feels more like a chatbot, according to people's experience. And I think that's solely because it has that ability to have it has the chat log training. It also has the open access to the internet, which this lacks, and that means it can gain knowledge, language knowledge that ChatGPT otherwise wouldn't.
Yes, and I think it's a really, I don't know, but yeah. Relatedly, though, I only saw this right before we went live, but relatedly, a science fiction journal, I don't have it in front of me in the right thing. Oh, I don't have it in front of me. The New York Times reported that a science fiction journal, there it is. The science fiction magazine is getting an absurd amount of submissions from chatbots.
Really?
People are generating stories from chatbots and submitting them to this magazine.
Have they stated which one specifically, or could they not figure out
they didn't want to talk about like how they were picking out which ones were chatbot generated, which like that makes sense.
They don't want to have other people abuse it, but clearly there isn't like some form of group that knows how to get it, which is worrying.
Yeah. And they think that they've pulled out 500 machine-written submissions and that they're relatively easy to pull out.
Well, yeah. I'd assume
but this was what caught my eye about this article is this is a direct quote from the article and a direct quote from the editor of the, I believe it's the editor? Yeah, the editor of the magazine, Clarkesworld. They were spectacularly bad. Bad in spectacular ways that are just prompting, dumping, and pasting and submitting to a magazine.
So why is this what they're choosing to do? Why are these people, were they already previously writers, or is this just...
I don't think they know. Or if they do, they're not talking about it yet.
Yeah.
But it really like makes you think about like the future of not just like there's been lots of discussion about video and photo and like comic related copyright issues.
Yeah.
Not so much about written words.
I think it's because actually I don't even know why that's the case. Yeah, you're right. That should be something that like, because the thing is, OpenAI's other venture other than ChatGPT, DALL-E 2, has been under fire for supposedly copyright infringement, even though that is on a model that does not train itself with copyrighted material. So the question then becomes, instead of looking at it, should they be more so worried about the written word being abused here?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough topic to think of.
Because now there's going to be AI lawyers, or at least people AIs that are going to be helping the lawyering process, which then brings up the question: can you even trust that much when it's being trained on the network like this?
Yeah. So you just mentioned the lawyer thing. Tell me about that.
So there's a thing called Harvey AI that's going around right now, and I don't have to know the full story on it personally, but what it is that a legal bar has basically said that they've been working on this for about maybe since last year. I'm gonna say, I could be wrong about that. It could be since 2021, and they've been working on this piece of AI that does not sit in replacement of a lawyer, but instead pushes the lawyering process much quicker and allows it to answer simple questions and more simple tasks for a lawyer to do. There has been attempts to put an AI lawyer in place in a court before, and it almost happened. They almost had a lawyer sitting with an earpiece within a court, straight up talking with the AI, talking to it, giving it answers and what to say.
So why didn't they?
The court said no. The court said that should not happen under any circumstance.
Well,
I
is
think
that a judgment, do you
I
think?
think under a controlled experiment, that should be done.
You think?
I think.
So they set up like a fake court case.
I think that that's the only way they could really test it. I think that's probably what they've already been trying to do within their own AI testing, but I have to assume that they want to do it to the point where it can be a real thing. They need to actually test it enough times in a controlled environment to where they can prove this will not be a problem.
Okay. Well, I mean, that brings up the question of, would you trust an AI to bail you out of jail?
No! Obviously not! Not to say I don't trust our AI overlords, obviously. But if my lawyer is a piece of artificial intelligence, I'm going to jail. So,
Well, I mean,
even if I'm not the victim, I'm going to jail no matter what. So that's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, there's a YouTuber I like and you like as well called Tom Scott. You've probably heard of him.
If you're within the educational market, you've definitely heard of him.
Yeah, he does these really like 5-minute videos about weird places in the world, or things that like he does research on essentially internet rumors, like the type of stuff that goes viral, like Poland that has freshwater clams that control its water supply.
Or a restaurant in New Zealand that has a pneumatic tube system to deliver its food.
Yeah, so he goes and looks at interesting places and talks about stuff that happens there. And he also used to do a lot of stuff in tech.
He still does. It's just not as heavy anymore since he's doing a lot more outside things. But he had a lot of educational playlists and series with YouTube actually in order to help teach it.
And so he put out a video a couple days ago, and essentially talking about how he thinks that AI is the first warning sign that the world is about to change in ways that we can not expect and will be of similar magnitude to the way that the internet changed the world.
Yeah.
He specifically talked about the use of Napster, which was a music downloading service. I might still be. I don't.
It's not around anymore.
Okay.
If it is, it's not to the extent it is anymore.
Yeah.
To be honest, the only service that's ever actually taken what Napster did and then actually flipped it on its head and then yet again changed the music world forever was Spotify, which took its own roots. And Napster was basically the leap that the internet took in order to change everything with streaming and stuff.
Yeah, because essentially what happened was before this, you listened to music on the radio. That was where you listened to music. You didn't choose what music it was. Maybe you bought CDs. But Napster let you pick and choose, downloading whatever music you wanted.
Well, that is if it was, not a corrupted file or a hidden other song in plain sight.
Yeah.
Which did happen, by the way.
Or if it wasn't virus laden,
That is also a thing that would happen.
But like that's standard early internet stuff. It's standard internet stuff now.
Yeah.
Be careful while browsing the internet. I just had to add that little public service announcement. Be careful while browsing the internet. You might get a virus and get your identity stolen.
You wouldn't download a car, would you?
I would. Wait, I said that on live TV.
Do we want to continue this conversation or do we want to move on to the next topic?
Well, I have one more thing to say. So essentially, he said that Napster changed the world because essentially regular people, like he had a haircut. He had a haircut the other day, and he was like, the barber started talking to me about ChatGPT, right? Totally unprompted. And that was like the sign that he saw from Napster in retrospect, was when people started talking about this thing, like who had no real like connection to it in terms of like tech. People didn't really use the internet up until after Napster. I don't want to say Napster was what caused the explosion of the internet, but Napster was a warning sign.
And then when OpenAI introduced DALL-E and things like ChatGPT specifically, that became now the current, you know, AI. When people think of it, they think ChatGPT now,
Yeah.
which is kind of insane.
Yeah, and it's not like the way that NFTs or cryptocurrency went viral. It feels different to that because this isn't just like a thing that's happening. Those had very limited design space. NFTs and cryptocurrency were about essentially the stock market.
Yeah.
AI has its fingers in everything. And Tom Scott used this analogy of the curve of tech. I don't remember the term.
That's
but
about right, yeah.
Essentially, it starts out, development of tech starts out, of a new technology starts out slow, grows very fast, very rapidly, and then evens out.
Yeah.
And he posed the question, which I have not been able to get out of my head since I watched this video. Where are we on that curve? Are we at the bottom of that curve, and we're about to see the explosion of what AI can do? Are we at the top? This is what AI will be able to do.
So here's my opinion, and it's a very different one. I say we're in that middle period.
You think we're in the middle?
I don't think we're at the point where we're at the top. I don't think we're at the bottom at all.
You don't?
I consider this, because think about it, this is ChatGPT 3, to be specific. This is the type of software we're at. This has been going on for many years.
Well, do you know, when did ChatGPT start?
That I'm unaware of. I am aware that DALL-E, specifically from OpenAI, has been, this is like, DALL-E 2 is the second iteration of it. ChatGPT has been in development for a little bit now. And because of that, we are not at the beginning, in my opinion. I'm going to say we're quite literally right in that dead center period.
I'm gonna say this here, live on the internet. I think we're at the bottom of that curve.
Really?
I think we're at the bottom of that curve, because they've just released the first public models, and I wrote a college essay using AI. That was something I thought of 5 minutes before I did it. That was not me going in with like a company that uses AI to write college essays. Like, the open-endedness of what this software can do if you learn how to use it properly. Like, it took me a while to figure out how to prompt ChatGPT to write these things in like the right format. The first prompt I got was like not a very good essay. It wasn't really college level. It didn't have the citations I'd asked for. The links it gave me didn't go to real places. But then I developed what I was doing, my responses. I learned how to talk to it better. And so I think the limit isn't what they're putting out now. I think it's the limit of human imagination. What can you do with something that generates text for you like that? And that's not just like text in just generating text. Generate stuff for you. What can you generate?
So if we're at the bottom now, where would you say we'll be at the top?
Oh, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. We could reach, I don't think, here's what I will say. I don't think we'll reach the level of sentient AI. I don't think we'll reach that in this iteration.
I don't think so either. I think that at this point we're actually quite far from that, and I don't think even either you or I will see it in our lifetime.
I would not be shocked if, like, when we were in our 80s type stuff, if we lived that long.
At least to the level of, like, you know, where like the movies have shown us things like that, like things like Skynet or things.
Well, I don't think there will be a Skynet situation.
Our fingers, please, for the love of God.
But I would not. I'm not saying it will happen, but it's like it feels like the Mars, like missions to Mars, if a bit less.
I can see that actually.
Like it. I think what we will see is we'll see language models that are indistinguishable from a human, absolutely indistinguishable, because we only started seeing AI in the public view less than a year ago. Less than a year, and already we're like we're still wowing over it, what, 6 months later?
Yeah, I mean, there's still new developments happening within it 6 months later.
And OpenAI, I have Wikipedia pulled up now. OpenAI was founded in 2015.
Yeah.
That's only 7 years ago. In terms of tech, that's somewhat of a lifetime, but also in terms of like human history,
That's nothing.
yeah, I think this is like the beginning of a revolution of some sort.
I agree.
Have you changed your mind then? Have I convinced you?
I think you have convinced me, actually.
Okay.
Do we want to move on to the next
Yes.
topic? Because I have
Yes.
some interesting things that happened. I have 2 smaller stories and then one kind of major story from a big company that we may or may not have talked about their CEO in the past. Okay, so you know how there's things like AirPods? There's things
Yes.
like there's wireless earbuds and stuff. They're all over the place. You've seen me wearing them yourself. Sony is kind of the main leader of that with and I'm not gonna mess up this name. It's the WF-1000 XM4s and the Link Buds S.
That was impressive.
It's the standard naming scheme for them. It's WF and WH. It's stupid, but it's there. And basically, they have been the leading noise-canceling earbuds, the XM4s, and that's what the shortened name is. And they're really fantastic for noise canceling. They have great sound quality.
Well, when you say leading, what do you mean? Because
as in industry leading, as in it's some of the best you can actually buy. Period.
Okay, because I would very vehemently argue that AirPods are the most popular.
Oh, they're the most popular, but not for the right reasons, in my opinion. I don't want to talk about that now, but I have a very strong opinion about AirPods. But anyways, basically what happened is this. While yes, they're fantastic, they have had some problems. I've experienced some myself, which is why I don't personally own them. But I haven't experienced this, which is on the 20th of February, Reddit user YangKong1982 posted in the Sony headphones subreddit about one of their WF-1000 XM4 earbuds exploding in the charging case.
Exploding in the charging case.
They bought it in December of 2021.
Okay.
And a week after the right earbud started rapidly losing battery life, it just randomly exploded.
Okay, so they had it for like a year and a half?
And then suddenly the right earbud just started discharging very quickly. And then while it was charging in its case.
Well, thank goodness it was in the case.
I want you to the photo is on our script if you'd like to see it. That's what it looks like.
Okay. Well, so the photo is going to be on the screen right now.
Yeah.
While that does look bad, that's not what I imagined when I thought exploded. I thought exploded meant it had shattered the plastic. This just looks like it had shattered the sealant.
Not just the sealant. The adhesive isn't the only that's broken. One of the connectors is broken. The speaker driver itself has been ripped apart. The battery is just dead. So,
wow,
it's unusable. It's completely unusable. Even if you were to put it all back together, it's completely unusable.
Huh.
Sony support has asked for pictures and has asked the use of some of the earbuds to look into the problem. So they are fixing this.
Or trying to.
Trying to at least. But that's funny to me. I've had my own problems with Sony earbuds, specifically where the noise canceling in one earbud specifically the mic will just sound like when you know how you put up a seashell to your ear and it'll just sound like that. I hear that in my ear. It sounds like a fan constantly blowing on my ear. I've had that with 2 pairs of Sony earbuds and I hate it. That's why I don't use Sony's earbuds specifically because I always end up with the short end of the stick when it comes to quality assurance. It's really funny. The next story is actually a patent that has been filed. I don't have any images specifically on me, but I will put them on the screen. Apple has been granted a patent to create an Apple Watch band that can change color with an app.
The band itself?
The band itself, like this watch band that I have on now, kind of similar to that. This is not new technology, this technology that's being used. It's called an electrochromic element. Basically what it means is that using small electric currents, it can actually change color, opacity, things like that. It can even be used to show text and shapes according to Apple's patent. This has been used on stuff before. Specifically, Vivo and OnePlus have used it on phones to cover up either change the color of the back glass or to just hide a camera. And it's actually the 2 biggest use cases of it that people have seen are that the rear view mirrors in cars can automatically be dimmed, and specifically they're actually, and I'm going to say this in the weirdest way possible, there are bathrooms that exist, like public bathrooms, where it's big glass and it looks so weird and it's like, I don't want to go in there, but then the second that you actually flick a switch, the glass becomes not transparent.
Becomes opaque?
That's all through
I would
electrochromic signals.
I would never trust a bathroom made out of entirely glass.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Have you used one?
No. I know
Then-
someone who has, though, and apparently it is, you just can't see out of it or in it.
No.
What
What if the power goes out?
Oh, if the power goes out, you're screwed.
Yeah, no. I'm not.
Apparently, though, the way it works is that it sends one electric current through it, and that's all that changes.
Oh, okay.
Reportedly, it probably have now, when it comes to the Apple Watch band itself, my assumption is that they'd have to work on it for a number of 5 to 6 years in order for it to get it working, because the way that they want to do it is they want to interweave electrochromic elements into a fabric. They don't want to have it be made of leather or plastics, and they want to make this into a fabric one, which I personally like Apple's fabric wristbands. They're actually really nice for the Apple Watch, but I'd love to see them do that, because
That would be really cool.
that would mean that if they could potentially give this patent to other manufacturers, that could be put into, they won't, but actually I shouldn't say that, because they have given, their MagSafe technology in the back of the latest iPhones, where you can put it onto a magnetic charger and
Yes.
thing like that. They have given that patent to the Wireless Charging Consortium. That is a thing to add into Qi charging too, which is actually now being added into Android phones later this year.
I mean, my phone charges wirelessly, and it doesn't lock into
MagSafe
place.
basically allows it to have accessories that will stick to the back of the phone, and Apple has had the patented that and had it, and they've actually now granted it to the Wireless Charging Consortium to put onto other phones. It is the first time they've actually done that.
That's pretty cool.
That's a big move of them.
That's pretty cool.
But I'm hoping this patent will come out because that would be amazing to see, and I'd love to see if it. And I hate saying this out loud, it's the first thing I thought of when I read it. I'd love to see if it catches fire. And finally, the biggest thing that happened last week I actually completely forgot to touch on this last week, which you showed me. Tesla Motors. Tesla Inc. has announced they'd be recalling over 362,000 U.S. Tesla vehicles to update its full self-driving beta software after U.S. regulators said on Thursday that the driver assistance system did not adhere to traffic safety laws. So, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said that this software allows a vehicle to, and I quote, exceed speed limits or travel through intersections in an unlawful or unpredictable manner that increases the risk of a crash.
So, what the average person does.
Yeah, basically. However, this is in a manner that's, they can't control it.
Yeah.
And it has been shown that some people have hit the brakes and nothing changed. That's how bad it's getting. That's how bad the bugs are getting. So Tesla has consistently been at odds with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and they've consistently said, no, it's fine. That is until last week, where they finally said, fine, and they actually finally adhered to a request, which was asked of them in January.
That's at least a month.
And this recall will take a huge chunk of Tesla Motors off the road. I don't know if this information is fully up to date, but according to autonews.com, in the third quarter of 2022, there are more than about 1,356,000 vehicles in operation in the U.S. from Tesla alone. I don't know if that's true or not, but if that is the case, that takes them below 1 million.
Well, I mean, people have probably bought the couple of thousand cars to meet that gap, but it brings them either below 1 million or really, really close if they're recalling that many.
Which is scary. I mean, granted, this is now February 2023. They're probably more than that, but the fact is that that's a lot of cars that are off the road now. I personally am not opposed to the idea of full self-driving, except I do not like Tesla's implementation, because they're doing a few things. They're locking it behind paywalls, which I understand, but if you want to push this stuff, don't make people pay for it just for them to get killed. B, they actually have two types. They have full self-driving, and then they have automated driving, or auto assist, which basically is you have to be paying attention, but it can move simple things for you if you need to. But you still have to keep your hands on the wheels in case, or at least around them. But that's kind of bog standard. It's actually one of the cheaper add-ons for Teslas. But the fact is that if you're paying so much more for full self-driving, you should not have to deal with these many problems.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't think I'd trust a self-driving car at any point until such time as AI feels like it's
a human.
Yeah, it feels like it's a human.
So you wouldn't step foot into a self-driving car?
No, I mean Teslas catch fire too. So like,
Let's not forget there is a website called TeslaDeaths.com.
yeah, no, not for me, not for me. I will trust the good old human tendons and muscles and bones to press that gas pedal.
Must I pull out my leg? Must I pull out my leg as a response? Must I put my foot on the table? You know what? I'm doing it anyway.
No.
For the sake of the joke, I'm putting my leg on the table,
Oh,
and I'm
gosh.
keeping this in the edit. This is very funny. Okay, you can trust humans all you want.
That's quite a sight.
And now we can pass it over, I think, to
Yeah.
Naila.
On that note, we're gonna pass it over to Naila and Jalen, who are going to be telling us about the ugliest boots I've ever seen.
Thanks, Gwen and Blue. Now, next time I'm about to go to jail, I'll call my AI lawyer. On this week, I'm going to be talking about the ugliest red boots I've ever seen in my life. So I'm going to talk about a new fashion wave that's been happening, which is the infamous mischief big red boots, also known as Astro Boy boots. These huge, inconvenient, and in my opinion, ugly red boots have been taking over since I don't even know when, but they have been seen on many celebrities such as Lil Wayne, Coi Leray, Ciara, and more. So not only are these boots apparently hard to take off, they make you look like Astro Boy, and a lot of people have been compared to also Boots from Dora. Now, the Mischief website says that these are indeed meant to look like cartoonish, and they're also going for $350, and I think that's a lot of money for, you know, a huge piece of rubber just hanging on your feet and you can barely walk in them. But yeah, so far I think the real reason why I'm upset about these boots taking the storm is not only because they're ugly and inconvenient, the fact that they don't come in purple. I feel a little bit left out because of that. But yes, that's okay. But that's my take on this week. What do you have for us, Jalen?
Okay, so I only found two things so far. So Pizza Hut has partnered with a YouTube star named Arak, I think that's how you say its name, made the world's largest pizza. It includes 13,600, oh my God, I'm gonna say it again. It includes 13,653 pounds of dough, 8,800 pounds of cheese, 4,948 pounds of marinara sauce, and 630,496 pounds of pepperoni.
Jesus Christ, what are they trying to feed, Goliath?
I know, right? And literally, like when I saw the picture of the pizza,
It's huge, wasn't it?
yeah,
Oh
it
my
literally
God.
made me hungry.
Honestly, give me one Saturday night with a cup of wine, I'll finish that pizza for you.
Yeah, it looks so good. If you're like literally, like if I haven't eaten for days, I'm finishing the
Oh,
whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
The whole thing.
Just give me 5 minutes, I got that pizza. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
And now, obviously, not just the whole McDonald's thing in Texas that's like running on machines. Now there's a gas station in Europe that's running on machines as well. You can either like pump your gas manually, like actually like you know, or you can let the machine do it for you.
Okay. Now,
I mean, I hear because of this, it's like faster and it's like a higher income for a gas station. I heard.
see, the thing is, every week we come on here, we talk about AIs or some type of robot, and I'm usually scared out of my mind over
Yes.
these things. But, you know, having a robot pump my gas may not be the worst thing in the world unless the robot gets angry one day and decides, you know what, I'm not going to put the gas in your tank. I'm going to spray it on you and on your car and then light a match and
I
kill
don't
me.
think this will happen. If it was a human AI, then yes, those things I'm staying away from.
Oh my God. What if it gets angry? What if this AI decides, you know what, I want to see what it looks like when a car is on fire and just lights us up. And then that's it.
No idea.
Oh God. We are going down a really bad rabbit hole with these AIs and robots.
Yes, we are.
I just need one that can do my homework,
Oh yeah.
take a couple of tests for me, and, you know, perhaps, I don't know, give me money. I'll be
yeah.
great. That's when I'll be all for AIs and robots.
Yes.
But until then, a little bit scared.
But hey, so far nothing bad has happened. So right
far.
now we're good.
So far, I'm going to keep studying that movie, iRobot. I want to see
Or
the
the
signs.
movie Megan. Have you seen the movie Megan?
No, I haven't, but I know that when I watch it, I'm gonna know. I'm gonna know the starting signs of when these robots are turning against us because it won't be so clear, folks. We're gonna have to
hey.
really look for them.
Well, hey, well, if you guys didn't see the movie Megan, at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, the doll or the robot, whatever you call it, is literally not a good one.
Okay.
It turned against everyone.
See? That's all. That's and I believe it. I believe it because honestly, we build these robots thinking we're gonna sit here and boss them around and think that we're just gonna have them as maids and butlers and food workers, and then what? They're like, you know what? I don't need this crap. I'm gonna rise above this and I'm gonna kill you all, and then I'm just gonna live my own life normally. And I don't even blame them at this point. You know what?
Yeah.
Union.
Yes.
That's what I feel. But yeah.
But yeah, that's all we have. I'm Jalen.
And I'm Naila.
And see you all next week.